Show. Welcome to episode 3. Today, by popular request, we're going to be covering coming soon listings. It's been a super hot topic in our MLS, and I'm excited to jump in today with my co-host.
Hey, so basically, if you didn't see the MyBore request to read the coming soon post every time you log into MyBore until you read it, that was us. We had some people a little bit angry about coming soons, and it's been a kind of a hot topic in a lot of the realtor blogs. So we wanted to cover it today. So what is a coming soon? So a coming soon is anytime you list a house anywhere and advertise it before you take it live on MyBore. That's a coming soon post. And so the question is, are they ethical? Are they legal? Can you do them? And we're curious to see what you guys think. Comment below whether you think they should or should not be allowed. Love to hear from you. The short answer is they are above board if they're done properly. So Aaron, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, as far as on the coming soon listings, I think they get a bad rap because a lot of agents think, especially in the market that we're in today, that they're just trying to push me listings and get both sides of the transaction. And I'm going to be the first person to say I love a me transaction. Who doesn't want to get both sides of a deal? But that's not really the main focus of why these coming soon listings happen. Obviously, like you said, they need to be done correctly with the exempt listing disclosure form. But they also promote a ton of pre-interest, and I like to call it pre-exciting, really at the heart of marketing for listings that are about to come on the market. And if you're really doing your CRM right or your database, I don't care if you're using a Rolodex or whatever it might be, what you need to be organized for one, but for two, you're going to have a database of people who are interested in one specific property that you can reach out to whenever that listing does actually go live. And you can help your seller get their home sold faster and for more money, which is obviously what they want.
Absolutely. So let's run down some of the pros. So one of the pros would be that you can generate a lot of interest for the property before it actually goes live. So, we see it all the time. Buyers want to see a house and they're beat out by another buyer because they saw the house go live on MyBore faster. So in this situation, if we do it properly and we push out the coming soon post and we generate a lot of traffic, and then we have a date that everybody knows it's going live on, and they can schedule a showing for that date, and they've got a little forewarning that it's going to go live. The idea is that you're going to get a lot more showings on the date that it goes live. Plus, everybody gets a fair chance to see the property, which is totally ethical in every way possible. Another option, or I guess another pro, I should say, would be that it allows a slower amount of showings too, potentially. So I've got a client right now that has a house that they're building, and they're not going to need to move for several months. And so they don't want a quick sale on their house. They want a slower sale. They want a little bit slower showing limits. And that's 100% ethical and 100% above board. And they should be able to make that decision as a seller. So another pro would be getting signed listing contract. So obviously as agents, we always want to get the signed listing contract sooner rather than later. So if you do the proper process and you file an exempt listing disclosure, then you can go ahead and take that listing, and you don't have to market it until the client's ready for you to market that. Do you want to? You kind of already touched on one of the cons, but do you want to highlight any of the cons, Aaron?
Yeah, I wanted to make sure there's another pro that I know you and I had talked about, just about it, actually coming on the market, actually prepared. We talked about photos, our previous episode, and how important that is. And kind of was wanting you to touch on how important it is that those come on fully prepared.
Oh yeah, so that's a great one. So the rule is if you take a listing, you're supposed to have it on MyBore within 48 hours, or you need to turn in that exempt listing disclosure, especially if you're advertising it. So a lot of times, if you're doing drone photography or if you're doing photos, 48 photos, and you're having them edited and you're trying to make them have really high quality, and you're doing a video tour on top of that, it's just not always realistic to have that done within 48 hours. It could be windy for 3 days in a row, and nobody wants to fly a drone when it's super windy. So that can slow the process down, but you want to make sure that you're not just rushing through the process. You want to make sure everything's 100% quality And filing that exempt listing disclosure allows you to do that, and that's why we use it. It's one of the many reasons, I should say, that we use it as well.
That's good. I think, that kind of really that's the package of the pros. There's so many pros to doing the coming soon listing, but you were getting ready to touch on the cons, and you're kind of asking me about that. And I mentioned the me side of deals that some agents are getting frustrated with, especially in today's market with inventory being so low. I think agents are getting frustrated that they're not able to show it to their potential buyers and get a contract for their buyers and get them in a home. That's probably the number one thing that I would say, at least in this market, that's kind of maybe a con or can be a con to other agents. And then the other con would be, obviously not as many people are going to see that the house is for sale. When you file that exempt listing disclosure, it's actually saying that you're withholding it from the MLS and you're promoting it. So if your brokerage is mediocre, or if you're just a mediocre agent, you're probably not going to have a marketing strategy in place that's going to allow a sufficient amount of exposure for a house that is going to be promoted as a coming soon. What's your thought on that, Matt?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think there is a wrong way to do a exempt listing. And so, obviously if the seller is not aware that you are trying to basically not market their property on the MLS, that's a pretty big problem. So don't be a mediocre broker. At least make sure you're always educating your sellers. But a lot of the issues that I'm seeing with agents not liking the coming soon posts all revolve around them not being able to show their buyers that, and they're scared that their buyers are going to maybe go elsewhere to go see that home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the solution to that is making sure that if you're giving your buyer good service, they're generally not going to leave you and go somewhere else. And on top of that, if you're doing your job and you're setting a precedence with your clients, and especially if you have a buyer's agreement or some sort of commitment in place, you shouldn't have to worry about that. Those are, I don't fully agree with those being reasons why I wouldn't like a coming soon listing. I think the reasons that I can see of not liking a coming soon listing would be, obviously, if the agent is not educating the seller that their house isn't on the market. That's a big no-no. But at the same time, if they're just only trying to get a me and they never take it on the market ever, and the seller, at the end of the day, if the seller wants you to do that, then that can be done, and it's totally ethical because we work for sellers, so we have to do what the seller wants. But if I was a seller and I didn't think my property was getting marketed as well as it should be, then I'd be pretty upset.
Yeah. And I kind of want to just take a second and take a quick break just to kind of introduce our sponsors. Obviously, we're self-funded, so Greenwood Homes Realty and Indianapolis Homes Realty just help sponsor the show, and really just we're on a mission, a furious pursuit to try to help every agent be their best. At the end of the day, we all want to be our best. So kind of talking about Greenwood Homes Realty and Indianapolis Homes Realty. Why do we do coming soon listings, Matt?
Yeah, I just want to say I love our sponsors. They're awesome. So the reason we do them is simple. There can be lots of reasons, obviously, but it's simple. It's because it's what's best for the seller. So if it's not what's best for the seller, we're not going to do it. It's that simple. But here's some reasons that we've done coming soon listings. So it could be someone that's building a house. It could be somebody that wants to list their house now, but wants to wait till spring to take it live. That's a really common one. It could be somebody that is, waiting for a specific time period for any reason at all. It could be a job transfer. It could be a million reasons why they're waiting to sell their house for a certain time period. It could also be that someone doesn't want a lot of people showing their home. I have dealt with people that said, "Hey, I want you to be present for all showings. So if that requires me to do an exempt listing to where only you're the one showing it, then that's what we're going to do." It's very rare that happens because most people don't care that other agents are showing their homes, but it has happened, and it has been a reason that we've done it in the past. So yeah, I think you want to add anything to that, Aaron?
I think you really pretty much hit all the nails right on the head. I mean, at the end of the day, it always comes down to what's best for the seller. So I think
Absolutely.
that, I mean, that was spot on.
Absolutely.
So kind of, what does a mediocre broker do whenever it comes to these coming soon? So, I kind of think number one, you kind of touched on this earlier, is they don't educate the seller. Number two, we've talked about the exempt listing disclosure. That has to be turned in, and it has to be in the allotted time frame of the 48 hours. If that's not done, you're going to get a $500 fine from MIBOR, and your bank account's not going to be liking it. Number three is, they're not going to be marketing the property at all. So, we talked about if you're just keeping it just as an exclusive pocket listing, at the end of the day, that's probably not going to be best for your seller, and it's not going to get them the most exposure, and it's not going to get the house sold probably as quickly or as for as high a dollar that you would have got otherwise. And then the last one is you're not allowing anyone to show it at all. So kind of in that same kind of category as number three, you got to open it up to people, and you got to show it, to make sure that the house actually gets sold. So, is there any other kind of, anything else that a mediocre broker would do that comes off the top of your head, Matt?
No, I feel like you covered everything. At the end of the day, a mediocre broker is just thinking about themselves and not the seller. And there are agents, I'm sure, out there that do that. So if you're a seller, just be really, cautious. Make sure you know what you're signing. If you are signing an exempt listing disclosure, make sure you have a definite date that it is going live within, and just make sure you're conscientious of it. So yeah, I would say as far as a mediocre broker goes, that those are the things that you touched on. If you're doing those things, you're definitely a mediocre broker. So yeah, in conclusion, so obviously in conclusion, there's a time and a place for a coming soon listing. If you're going to do a coming soon listing, make sure you do it right. Make sure you educate your seller. Make sure that everybody's aware of what you're doing. But as far as the MIBOR rules and real estate commission rules, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but from what I've read, there's nothing wrong at all with doing a coming soon listing as long as it's done right. So like our page, share us on Facebook. If you want to be on the show, contact us. You're more than welcome to be on the show if it's a right fit, and give us suggestions. We've heard from a lot of people, so feel free to reach out with suggestions for further shows. We're going to be here every other Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Help us educate realtors one view at a time.